Right? My wife, Becky, and myself, we very much appreciate the time that you guys are giving to us. I mean, time is precious, and to be able to share something that we're excited about, we're really glad that you chose to get on with us here, and hopefully some others will be coming in. But with that being said, my wife is going to share a little bit about what we found, and she has an amazing story that we received today, and I should probably not give that away because it's amazing. But why don't you go ahead, honey?
Yep. So we've heard about the X39 patch for over a year, and Chuck and Diane have talked to us several times, or Chuck has. And so a few weeks ago, Providence met with Chuck, and I said, "Hey, when you meet with Chuck, tell him I really want to try this patch because I'm hearing a lot of really good things about it." So anyway, he came home and he's like, "Okay, so we're going to get started on it." So anyway, so I started on April the 10th and got my mom started on April the 13th. So my mom's was I'm really excited about. So she'll be 86 in June. She was diagnosed with fibromyalgia over 30 years ago and always has pain in her back, in her feet. I mean, just she's literally tried everything and spent thousands of dollars on all this. So anyway, I have always told her, I said, "Mom, there's something out there. We just haven't found what's right yet." So anyway, so I gave her a little bit of information and she's like, "How do I get started?" And I thought, wow, she's never been that excited. So get her started. A few days after I did, I get a text from her yesterday that said that her back isn't hurting, that she's got like tendonitis in her shoulder. It's 90% better. She said she has better mental clarity. And then today she told me that she has still no pain in her back. Her shoulder's 100% better. And she said, "I was actually able to sit up on the side of my bed today and tie my shoes, and I cried for an hour." So, I mean, I'm just excited for her that she has hope, mentally and physically. So I know for myself, I've just noticed that I've not had as much retention of water in my lower legs and my ankles. And then it doesn't matter how much lotion I wear. If I wear rubber gloves all winter, for whatever reason, my thumbs split, clack, crack, bleed. It's horrible and it's super painful. And within a few days, that is a whole lot better. Even I had a split, I don't know, last week or something, but it wasn't near as bad and it didn't last as long. So I'm excited about it.
Again, about her mom, though, I mentioned to Becky, her mom is actually appears that she's turning the time back. And I said to Becky, your mom could possibly live another 10, if not 15 years. So with this product, we're looking at the thought with this, it is age reversible. A quick thing about myself, I had arthritis in both my left toe and my right large toe, and it has been pain-free now for probably a week and a half. Now wearing shoes that I have not worn in a while. But enough about us. That's a short journey. And again, this is only a couple of weeks for us. So tonight, though, we have a very special guest. This guy, he's amazing. I had a chance to sit in a Zoom with him, Becky and myself, and Chuck Williams, who's on, and some others. Had a chance to sit with him. An amazing guy. He, as you guys probably were going back and forth with my wife, he's in Florida. Is that correct?
That's
And
correct.
he's a great guy, Ken Burke. And I would have to say this about Ken as well. I mean, a very strong guy for his faith. And I said to Becky after we met over to Zoom nearly a week ago that this guy is powerful. Definitely a lot that he can give to us. So I'm hoping, Ken, that can share that, and everyone else will walk away the same with saying, "Hey, that was a great guy." So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Ken Burke.
Well, that's awesome. Well, first of all, I'm honored and I'm so happy, Becky, for you and your mom in Providence. That is really at the core of this amazing patch, is the hope that we get to bring. But I have to say, I'm also honored just to be partnered with you. And Chuck Williams, who I have great respect for. Here's someone who was in my home just a couple months ago. Got to spend a weekend with him, and a man of great integrity, great work ethic, and also as a Christian. He spent time with my son. We have 5 children, by the way, but my youngest is 22 years old and brought a friend over, and Chuck helped lead him to the Lord. And I just thought, I just love being around people who have a heart bigger than anything else, bigger and a heart bigger, big for God. And then, but tonight. excited to be able to share a presentation with each of you, friends of Becky and Providence, about this patch that's changed our lives as well. And I'm going to share briefly our story. I'm going to share a presentation with you. And what you're going to find yourself being tonight is one of three people. You may be a number three, which is someone says, hey, Ken, Providence, Becky, I like what I see, but I want to do more research. Fine, we totally get it. Or, hey, I like what I see. I'm a number two. And, and so, I want to be able to get some patches on me and my family. Or you may find yourself being a number one, ready to launch. You like what you see. You want to get some patches for you and your family, but you want to hit the go button on this amazing, rewarding program offered to those who share it, not sell it. There's a big difference. But just know you can simply wear this patch and that's it. So there's no obligation. So let me go ahead and screen share with you this presentation. Now, this slide deck we're showing is really seen much in part all around the world. And what it does, it's designed to make it easy. We say eyeballs on Zooms. It's easy for people to take a look, to be that 3, 2, or 1, and make it comfortable. And it protects all our integrity too, right? So let's go ahead and let me get that slide screen shared with us here, and we'll go from there. So the first question I'll ask is, have you been patched yet? Because once you do get patched and do get back with the person, whoever invited you tonight, and most likely it's going to be Providence and Becky, what's going to happen is your body, the cells inside of it are beginning to elevate. They're going to begin to activate. They're going to begin to regenerate, and particularly your stem cells. And what we like to do is we like to have credit due where credit belongs first, is for this gentleman right here, David Schmidt. He is the CEO and the inventor of this amazing technology. David has well over 130 patents to his name at this point, and he is a scientist of scientists and inventor. And actually, 21 years ago, David started this company because he was hired by the Navy SEALs to figure out a way to keep these gentlemen at the time awake underneath the water for 18 to 36 hours in these specialized submarines, and they didn't want to give them amphetamines. And David, he'll tell you that no one creates, only God creates. That's his statement, and he's a scientist, so it's pretty powerful to say that. But he believes that God gave him a way to invent, it was a 2-patch energy system, 2 patches that were light therapy patches, and I'll explain that in a minute, but it leveraged the fat cells in these fit bodies, but gave them energy, and it worked. That led to the Berkeley swim team, the women's swim team at the time, finding about these patches within 3 weeks. Most of their swimmers were besting all their goals, and that led to Michael Phelps during the Olympics actually wearing this technology. And so this is Olympic approved technology, also by the FDA. We're designed as a wellness patch, so there's no side effects from light therapy. It doesn't matter what kind of medication your friends or family or maybe on, it's safe to give them a patch. So it's good from great grandmothers to grandbabies and all points in between. So, but what happened was, after David created these 2 patches back in the day, he began to create other patches. But then in 2008, he turned his attention to stem cells and age reversing. In over 10 years, 80 clinical trials, $4.5 million, eventually figured this patch out, the X39 patch, and got it patented, and then got it released in 2020 during COVID, when all the world was shutting down. This patch was birthing, bringing light and hope and life to people, and it was exploding. The company at the time was doing about 20 million a year. Well, by year end, I think they're about 85 million, and it just began to rocket. Last year, just 4 years later, $600 million. They're on track to hit $1 billion this year. 86% of all that revenue is coming from this amazing little patch, X39, and with no sales force, with no marketing. All righty, this is word of mouth. And why is that? Because the miracles that this thing is doing, and you heard a little bit tonight from Becky and Providence and Becky's mom, these things compel people to want to call their family and friends, not to sell them something, but to call their family and friends and say, listen, I think I found something. And so it's spectacular. But let's take a look at this patent, because this is awesome. We have protection on this product till 2040, another 15 years. Like, no one in the world has this technology. No one has the ability to take someone's existing dormant stem cells and turn them on back naturally. And that's what we're going to talk about here in a second. And the results from it and from the clinical findings are profound. Inside this 31-page patent, I'm going to read you. I'm just going to blow the screen up a little bigger here. If I can on my thing here, maybe not. Nope, that's not going to work. But if you read at the bottom here, it says here, as a result of elevating this copper peptide inside of us, it's going to activate stem cells. It's going to improve energy, elevate antioxidants, reduce inflammation, manage pain, improve stamina, elevate collagen production, and improve wound healing, just to name a few. And, you know, I wish I could play. I patched somebody, just one patch the other day. I was at the beach, and my wife and I drive these really cool looking Cyber Beast trucks, paid cash for them next to this. And a woman came up and her boyfriend, and they're in their probably mid-late 60s, and said, "Oh, I love your truck." I said, "Hey, thank you. You know, we paid cash thanks to this patch." I said, "What is that?" I said, "This is a stem cell reactivation patch. Works off light in the body." She said, "Stem cells?" I said, "Oh, I've been a nurse for 35 years. I do research, work on cardiovascular, and long and short, I am putting a patch on her." All right. And that was over the weekend. I would think it was on Saturday. Well, she only wore it for 12 hours, not even. And she called me today and she left me an amazing voicemail. I'm going to have to get this shared with you all, but you know, and she had herniated disc in her neck, and she works at home on a computer, still in research, in pain all the time, taking a couple medications for it. And she said, my pain was gone. And she has this basal melanoma or something that was on her face that left like a scar, a raised scar. And she said, that is now flat. And well, in the patent here, it says right here in the patent, improved wound healing. So, but man, 1 in 5 people, 1 in 8 people roughly are what I call a one patch wonder. It's so fun to see that. Well, here's a story about this amazing patch. You know, it all starts with us in the womb as a stem cell. The very first cell you and I in the womb was a stem cell. And then that morphed in every cell we now are. And but then you're given a reserve of stem cells by God's design for healing, repair, and restoration. In your brain, in your bones, throughout your whole body, your organs, throughout the whole entire body, you have a reserve of stem cells. So if you break a bone, you're 8 years old, the brain says, great, I'll send stem cells there, and they will morph into any cell the brain tells it. That's the power of a stem cell. It can change into any cell the brain tells it. And so they'll morph into bone, marrow, tissue, ligament, joint, whatever. But by the time you're 80, that doesn't happen, because at the age of 30, half of those stem cells are now dormant. The aging process is setting in, takes longer to heal, faster the age, and by the time you're 60, well, we all know, you know, now 90% of those stem cells are now dormant. And so until now, with this amazing technology, well, how does this thing work? Well, it's a proprietary form of phototherapy, light therapy. You know, the sunlight that hits our skin helps create vitamin D as the body internally elevates vitamin D. Well, this is different. We have light that actually emanates out from our mitochondria, from our DNA. It's infrared light. If you put infrared goggles on and turn the lights off in a room with a bunch of people, you could see them clearly because all of us are emitting infrared light 24/7. Well, this is going to harness the power of that with this patented nanocrystal technology. Well, what are you saying? Well, these are amino acids and microscopic salts and sugars from organic plants arrayed in such a way that emits a frequency as well. So nothing is going into my body, but the light from in my body is now bouncing off this patch, elevating this peptide. And when it does, the brain says, thank you very much. I'm going to start turning on all your dormant stem cells. This is fascinating, right? So it's reflecting light to activate. It's non-transdermal. Nothing's going into our bodies. It's light therapy. No side effects. You know, so there's no drugs, no chemicals, no stimulants, nothing, not invasive. And remember, the patch isn't really what's doing all the work. It's your brain now being able to recapture what's inside of the body and be able to use it for better use. And you can expect these things to occur: increased strength, reduce inflammation, anything with the word itis. Inflammation is behind it. Arthritis, tendonitis, well, what's behind it? Inflammation and a chronic state. Well, now you can begin to nip some of that in the bud. And increase stamina. You know, as we get older, we want to be able to just walk further, go farther, right? Energy, vitality. My wife and I now do a lot of traveling, and I'd say when you're in Europe, there's a lot of stairs over there in Croatia and Italy and things. So, and the roads are rocky and bumpy. So you need mental clarity to see what's ahead of you. And that's another thing, is that the brain becomes balanced. Your memory, your cognitive ability, your ability to focus, right? Your brain fog disappearing. You can expect these things over time wearing this patch. Restored musculoskeletal condition. This is fascinating. I own an advertising company up to about just 8 months ago, and I had a client of mine who owns a dental practice in Bradenton, Florida called Parkwood Dental, and they called me and said, hey, listen, we had a patient come in. We couldn't put a post in their jaw because their jaw was too brittle. But they came back 8 weeks later and we scanned again, but their jaw was solid enough. We put a post in it. And they said the only thing they did differently was they wore this patch. So it's amazing what the body can do when the brain has access to be able to bring healing repair again. Improvement in sleep. Would you like to be able to sleep better? Well, guess what? The probability is, because most of us, we sleep way better now, and sleep's very important to the healing state of the body. And then improvement in skin appearance, for sure. It's just amazing. And your hair as well. My wife's hair is now like as long as when she was a teenager. And we've been on this path for 2.5 years. Here's a clinical trial of a woman who's 77 years of age. Her brain is inflamed on the left. Inflammation in the brain creates a lack of brain coherence. But 3 weeks later, boom, brain is balanced, calmed down. And so now she has improved brain coherence. And session 3 to 6 weeks later, continued improvement and sustained. And this is what I saw for me. When my friend introduced me to this patch, I basically bought it because I wanted to get on everybody else, because I'm in pretty good shape. I'm going to be 60 in May, and I can do handstand walks, muscle ups. I do intermittent fasting and CrossFit, and I take pretty darn good care of myself. And and so I bought this patch really for everybody else and for preventive maintenance, not knowing really what this could do for me. But I was under extreme amount of pressure running my 18-man advertising company. I couldn't find good salespeople. So even though I built the backside of the business, I was always on the front side selling, and I had 18 people working for me. It's a lot of sales I had to hustle. It's a lot of stress, 9 years of stress. And at 2.5 weeks on this patch, my stress went from about here down about 85% to about 15%, and really never came back. So the stress I have now is nothing compared to what I used to have. And it gave me this gift I didn't even know existed called living in the present. And it was just fascinating that now when I'm with my 10 grandbabies, all right, we have 10 grandbabies, I can actually be present. We actually have 9 of them in the home this weekend. Thankfully, they're all up and sleeping right now. And I've got some of my daughters in town. My wife and I, by the way, backing into this, we have 5 amazing children grown out the door, 4 married, 10 grandbabies. And my wife and I, we've been married for 33 years. And so we courted for 6 years. So known each other a little while. I like to joke with people, I'm still 21, just ignore my face. But I tell you, with this patch, I feel so much better to live a life now. And additionally, above and beyond, your stem cells and this collagen and the collagen being elevated in the body as well, is your genes, the genes that make up who you are, your eye color, your weight, your height, and all that. 4,000 of them, which is about a third of them, reset to a younger state in a matter of just a few days. Within 6 weeks, I told about the brain becomes balanced. I call this thing a happy patch. So if you know people who've been discouraged, going through tough things, divorce, loss of a loved one, what have you, or PTSD from various formats, get a patch on them and give them time. And I call it a happy patch. Within 3 months, the collagen in your body refreshes. You have more collagen in your bones than you do calcium. And so it's very important. But your skin, your hair, your nails is going to become thicker, longer, faster, less gray, less supple, more supple, and less wrinkled. It's really a blessing. Within 6 months, this is fascinating. Your cardiovascular system clinically will be reduced in age by potentially 8 years. So every 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, depending on your age, your cardiovascular and the damage from age is now being repaired and restored to a 2-year younger state. I had a friend of mine who went to the hospital because he got hit by a car, but he was okay. And but they did a full body scan and they discovered that he had a stretched aorta. And so he just happened to be on the patch at the time, and he was just wearing it for pain management. They said, Mitch, you need to come back in 12 weeks because we're going to give you bypass surgery. Because if that thing tears, you're going to drop dead. So come back in 12 weeks. Comes back 12 weeks. They pre-op him and they say, oh my gosh, there's no need for surgery now. What happened? And so fascinating. We've seen so many miracles with heart testimonies. It is mind blowing. And so how do you wear the patch? You wear it 12 hours on, 12 hours off, throw it away. So put it next to your toothbrush in the morning, put it on after dinner, take it off, throw it away. And let the body then rest and repair, rejuvenate itself, and then get up the next morning, rinse and repeat and do it again. Now, they tested it in 2 independent places at 2 different times on the body, 2 inches below the belly button as seen here, and 2 inches behind the back of the neck. in order to get the patent. But as you can see, I'm wearing it right here because there's light throughout the whole body, and it's your brain that's doing the controlling the healing, not the patch. And so you can wear it anywhere on the body. The key is you want to drink plenty of water. The body is always, detoxing. When you go to sleep at night, the brain detoxes, right? And when you go in the bathroom, you're detoxing. Well, this is going to potentially super detox you initially. And so you want to make sure you're drinking plenty of water, get those toxins out. The toxins only come out of your through your pores and through your waist. And hey, you may actually, I'd say 15% of people may feel worse for a couple of days on this patch because those toxins now, which have been hiding behind the scenes, are now getting pushed forward and they're raising an ugly head and getting ready to come out. And they're going to come out with a fight. But when they do, after that, you're going to feel like $1,000,000. And that is not a side effect. Side effects come from taking medication. That is a health benefit. And so if by chance you're one of the few people who experience that, count your blessings because it's getting ready to be good. Just make sure you're drinking plenty of water. So you can see this technology is so sophisticated, right? But yet it's so simple. And, like I said, the testimonies are spectacular. And just a little more on my story before I share a little bit how, the company itself, how much the patches are, and also for those who decide to want to hit the go button on this rewarding opportunity to share it, how the company rewards you to do so. Once again, you don't have to do that to simply wear this patch. But when our dear friend Joyce Johnson 2.5 years ago called us up and said, hey, listen, I found something you need to take a look at. I found a patch that helped relieve all my pain because she had been in a car accident earlier in 2019, got rear-ended twice, they put 4 titanium discs in her neck, and ever since then, now Joyce, who we love dearly, we knew her for 15 years. She's a retired IRS agent and a CPA, both her and her husband are. We knew them for 15 years. Their daughter went to school with our children. And it was heartbreaking to see how much pain she was in after that accident. My wife would drive her at times to places. It was just hard for her to function with these titanium discs in her neck that was supposed to help. And but when she called and said, hey, my pain is gone. And also I shared it with my sister who has bad migraines and bone-on-bone problems, needing bone-on-bone knee surgery, and her pain is gone, her migraines are gone. I said, well, hey, send me a link on it. And she sent me a link on this link right here, thisisitinfo.com, with all the research and the clinical data and studies. And I took a look at this. I said, this is fascinating. I said, everybody should be wearing this. And I didn't realize we had stem cells inside of this. So, right, I always heard about injecting someone else's. And so we have stem cells inside of us and that are dormant, and we can turn them back on. I'm like, sign me up, And I was very busy at the time running my 18-man advertising company. I sure as heck did not have time for a side hustle. I thought that would have been irresponsible of me because I already got paid off my production. I was committed to my team, if you will. But belief makes room for itself. And when I saw what this could do, and I believe the hope inside this patch and what it could do maybe for my dad, for my mother-in-law, for my wife, who was suffering from 10 to 20 hot flashes a day, and which is causing our business to suffer because I needed her to come down with me and network with me to set up appointments for our advertising company. She says, Ken, I'm going back to the hotel room. I feel like I'm in a fight or flight syndrome. My makeup's running. Hot coffee bothers me. I'm not myself. I'm like, wow. We tried to get her help through other means of acupuncture. Nothing was working. But day 21 in this patch, September 9th, it was a Monday, it was a holiday, 2022. She woke up and said, Ken, I think I only had like 1 hot flash that night. I feel really good right now. And basically that was the beginning to a blessed journey of being relieved from that and her fight or flight syndrome also going. And then months later, I asked her, I said, hey, what are the hip pain you always would talk about from giving birth to 5 children and at night or various times of the day, hip pain gone, And so that was amazing. But initially that blew my mind. And then day 2.5 weeks in, my stress went away. But I had my daughter first day call me, hey, Dad, the anxiety I had, postpartum hair loss and actually not first day, postpartum, just issues, brain fog. And one day, she called me up and said, hey, it went away. I just cleaned the girls' room out and their closet out, and my brain fog is gone. I have energy to spare. And then 4 days later, she called me and says, hey, is this supposed to help your hair grow back? Because she had lost hair in a portion from postpartum hair loss. I said, I don't know. So I was just learning about this. Well, boom, all these hair started sprouting up. Well, now all that's filled in. So that was amazing. But that was one day, one patch wonder. And so it was pretty spectacular. But I had a friend of mine who had a frozen shoulder, both his shoulders. He couldn't golf for 14 months with his daughter. She had a golf scholarship. That usually was their daddy-daughter date time. and no longer could spend that time. Plus, his wife had to help him put a shirt on over his head, and he called me 5 days in on the pass, said, "Hey, I'm back on the golf course with full range of motion." And then we have 10 grandbabies. One of them is on the spectrum level 3. That's nonverbal, non-focus. And it was a heartbreaker when your grandbabies come to you and they call you G-dad, granddad, and it just lights your world up. And then you have one who won't even look at you, not even talk to you, even if you put your face right up to her. Heartbreaking. Well, February 10th last year, get the patch on her at 2.5 years of age. And immediately, like the next day, her therapist said, "Hey, what's with Liliana? How is it now? She's focusing. She's following." Well, now, fast forward a year later, she looks at me. She smiles. She's still on the spectrum, but nothing. And to the amazement of her therapist, they are so excited. And so are we for Liliana now and the progress she's making. But anytime we have seen now us get the patch or someone get the patch on a child on the spectrum, I don't care if they're 15 years old or 5 years old, or younger, we've seen wonderful things. The first thing they'll say, "Hey, our child's focusing," or they're beginning to speak again, or their motor skills are coming back. I mean, it is just fascinating, what we've seen with this. Parkinson's, MS, dementia, cancer in the blood. It's just amazing. And the key is you want to wear this thing 1 month for every 10 years of life at a minimum, right? And this is not an aspirin. This is stem cell reactivation. So this is your brain. You're knowing what it needs to happen first. And the brain works in a triage mode. I remember my dad at the time was 280 pounds, 1 kidney, 12 medications. And now during COVID, he gets COVID. And I don't care, between the shot or COVID, all of a sudden his lungs go south. Then I'm going to have to move him from an independent facility to an assisted living facility because now he needs a walker. He didn't need that before because he's not getting enough oxygen in his body during the day. His head's slumped all day long. Can't walk 20 feet with his walker. And this past, when I first began to share it, a friend of mine called me in 1 week, said, "Hey, Ken, my purple legs are now clear. Come take a look." I said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "My neuropathy, and now I don't." I said, "Oh, maybe it's helped my dad." So when I called my dad, I said, "Dad, listen, you're going to start wearing this patch. I'll give it to you, whatever. And maybe help your purple legs." Well, 3 weeks in, I don't feel anything. My legs are still purple. 5 weeks in, I can breathe again. Buy me a plane ticket, go see Brittany in Louisiana. He's in Tampa. And I thought he was delirious because I'm thinking, "Dad, you can't walk 20 feet with your walker. You're not going anywhere." Click. I didn't click hang over like that, but that's all. And I thought he was crazy. Well, 6 weeks later, he was in an Uber to Tampa International Airport and spent the week out to visit my daughter and the great grandbabies. His lungs healed. That blew my mind. Now, later, his purple legs became clear, and later after that, his sleeping got really good. But the brain works in a triage mode, so it's going to work on the most important thing inside of you that you may not know that's going on inside of you. Of course, for my dad, apparently breathing was more important than walking. I'm an advertiser, I'm not a doctor, so that's my opinion there. But, this site also that I'm showing you, this is info.com. They have a site on there for testimonies, and you click on children there, break out the Kleenex, because it's pretty amazing what this thing has done for children. But just look at from dental, neuromuscular, back, spine issues, disability, dialysis, energy, stroke, neuropathy. Just pick one. Take a look at these testimonials on that site. Alrighty, so if by chance they do want to hang their hat on something that they believe could maybe begin to provide a breath of fresh air financially, like this thing did for us, well, you want to partner with a company that's actually going somewhere. Well, this company, the second year straight, won the Bravo Award of 561 companies worldwide in this relational marketing industry for having the greatest momentum. And so once again, this year they're projected to hit $1 billion in revenue this year. 60% of that goes back to you and me, not advertising, for sharing it as a reward. And like I said, you don't have to do that, but if you decide to do that, there is money that the company wants to thank you for, and it's a blessing. And so when my friend also called me, she told me about this couple here, Steve and Gina Merritt, who I remembered because I did have a little sliver of a taste of this industry back in 2006, 2007 for just a few months, called with Monavie, this fruit drink. And it changed my life. I still drink it to this day. But we came in and got out and never did anything with it again. But this couple was in it, and they helped 167 people make $1 million in that business. And when my friend Joyce called me and said, "Hey, you remember Steve and Gina Merritt?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, they actually had to leave whatever downline they had contractually and came over to this company and started over. But in 23 days, hit the highest rank in this business. It usually takes 4 years to do. And they're going to also implement a system that people could follow. And the Lord just kind of caught my attention. And I thought, well, what's just the possibility I might be able to get at some of that too? And, and from that point, 33 months ago, when they came on, they've gone from just two of them to over 400,000 people, and they should have 1 million people on their team by year end this year. And because we're all following a basic system, we're all willing volunteers in a sense that we're all independent contractors. No one tells us what to do. We do what we want to do, right? But we see this system, so we're all following this system, helping each other in this system, which gives us the ability to keep our time really clear. Which is spectacular, because while I was still running my 18-man advertising company, working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, I was sharing this opportunity with people and pointing their eyeballs to a Zoom like this at night, because we have all kinds of other Zooms going on, throughout the week. So you can stay free doing whatever you do during the day, share with people the opportunity for them to take a look at, send them a link or get them a patch on them. But that keeps you focused on doing the most important things you have. We say it's God, your family, your work, and then this, right? And so in the nooks and crannies. And that's what I did. And it was amazing that within the first 90 days, I remember my wife and I went on a cruise for 2 weeks. We were in Hawaii and Bora Bora, away from all of civilization. Now, at that time, I had enrolled a bunch of people to just try these patches. But we came back $2,500 richer. And because people, as they were wearing patches, they were sharing patches, they were sharing with people that I didn't know who they were, because the word of mouth was spreading. And then we began to incrementally make money off all these other people. I didn't know who they were, based on the collective efforts of everybody being excited and wanting to share this amazing opportunity of hope with their family and friends too. And I said, oh my gosh, I can't believe that we just got paid, and I want to tell everybody about this. I mean, this is amazing that you can bring hope to people and make money too as a reward. And it just got bigger and better. Well, by month 22, basically it financially retired us. We were making 4 times. While I was still running my advertising company, we were making 4 times what we were paying ourselves. And at that point, my business broker and attorney said, hey, what are you doing with your company? And we actually put it up for sale and paid all our team nicely. I still pay a couple people to this day, a year later almost. And I've rejected a couple people who want to buy the company, but I'm in an option where I can choose to do what I want with it, because now I live a different life. And our goal is to help you live whatever life you want to live. And should you decide to do that, I just want to let you know that you can make anywhere from $1 in this opportunity to right now. I think one of our lead distributors is a single mom, 60 years old, making $500,000 a month. And so we have a 24-year-old making 7 figures. I mean, this is not normal. These are not, and a lot of these are not salespeople. There's a lot of people on our team. We have now over 100 people have hit the highest rank in this business. My wife and I did in 11 months. But we have people like Penny Carpenter, and she's letting me use her name. She lives out in Texas in the middle of some town where there's only 650 people. 63 years old, single mom. She hit the highest rank in this business. She's never done anything like this before. And so we have other couples that are new to this whole thing, never been in this industry before, hitting the highest rank in this business. Why? Because when you have a gift of hope that compels you to want to share, and that perpetuates and spreads, it makes it easier to potentially gain the upside of compounded word of mouth. And so that's, to me, as a businessman, my degrees in finance, I usually birth businesses, and I think, okay, this is just actually fascinating. So I got all my kids in this business because they're busy. They've got kids, they've got working jobs, they don't have time for anything, but they're excited to be sharing this patch too. So I'm asking you, what may you be looking for yourself? Is it just, the patch itself to see what it could do for you? Totally understandable. You're looking for better health, but for me, when my friend called me and told me about how Stephen Gina Merritt hit the highest rank in the business, and that could mean $25,000 a week, I caught like a breath of fresh air, and I said, well, what's the chance? Because I was under so much pressure, because the industry had changed in the advertising industry, and I could have sold my business before COVID and probably retired, and now I couldn't after COVID, and now I may have to reinvent it again. I'd put all my money in the business over 10 years to be able to get it back out when I sold it. Now it's not going to be worth as much. So it's like I'm starting all over again in my mid-late 50s. I'm like, I don't want to do this again. And it was just a lot of pressure. And so I felt some hope, and 85% of people today, 85%, according to the experts, are not happy in what they do. And over 56% don't have, have less than $1,000 in their bank account, which is mind blowing. And so hopefully it's not you, but even if it is, there is a possibility, no promises, that there is a gift of opportunity of hope physically with hope in this patch, but financially, potentially, if you partner with us and the team and the things we do. And here's how it all starts. If you decide you want to hit the go button on this amazing morning program, or you'll find yourself just doing what most people do, not even thinking about the business, is they're going to call their family and friends. And if they get 4 friends on, basically you've just accomplished the first position in the business. And we call this a binary system. It's 2 teams, it's a left team and a right team. And it all starts with you calling and getting your family and friends in on this patch to bring the hope to them, not to go build a business with you, but just to get started to wear this hope. And when you do that, I'll show you the structure of that in a second. You hit this first rank in the business right here as you're looking at it, and it's called manager. You're not going to manage anything. It's just what they call it. And that opens you up to potentially making up to $1,500 a week. That's the first cap, if you will. You're not going to make that then, but the residual, as this begins to grow, so you see 2 left here, 2 right there. Well, guess what? It's not static. It doesn't stop there, because once those patches kick in gear, well, guess what? Your friends and family, they become believers, and guess what they want to do? They want to tell other people too, just like if they went to a good restaurant for the first time or a great movie. Well, this is even better. They're going to go back and tell people, and this is how this thing grows. And they get their 4, and you get 2, you get a friend of your left and a friend of your right, helping them get their 4. Well, you hit the next level in this business, and that opens you up to make $2,500 a week. And this thing continues to replicate down and can go to $25,000 a week, which seems like a lot of money, but there are people that are doing that, and which is amazing. But if just for yourself, everybody's different. We just want to give people just the simpleness of just starting out with sharing with your people that you love and care about, just like Providence and Becky are doing here tonight. And then, by the way, I talked about a $25,000 cap. Well, this is the unlimited section of the income. Technically, my wife and I are now extremely grateful. We are so grateful, but we make more than that $25,000 a week. And I can't really claim title to that because I didn't invent this patch. I'm not the word of mouth that's causing this thing to spread like wildfire, and I'm not the one who's paying everybody every week. What am I doing? I just started 2 on my left and 2 on my right. Right. And then I just kept seeing excited and then plug people into the system where we all could learn how to share better too. And take a look at these Zooms. Wear a patch, get excited, replicate, and what happens is in this unlimited way, when someone gets excited and they start sharing patches, start making money, well, the company's going to give you a 25% of bonus whoever you enroll. Well, then that person enrolls somebody else, and that person starts getting excited, and they start, sharing patches, making some money. You're getting 20% off that second generation person. And if that second generation person enrolls some people who get excited, well, you're going to make 20% of that next person's friend who they enrolled. So you're not limited to how many people you can continue to enroll. So as it goes down, so you can see that there is potential to really be blessed in this opportunity. So how does this all start? Well, it's very simple. You get some patches, and I want to cut to really the most important part of this patch is wearing it long enough, right? And so, in 90 days, 97% see results. But I'm telling you, what happens after a month, 4, 5, 6, and 7, it just gets better. Like I said, 2.5 years in, my wife's hair is now like it was when she was a teenager, which is just amazing, right? And we know our bone density is thicker. We know our gum pockets are better, So what you want to do at a minimum, get yourself on a monthly subscription. Now, by the way, it's all month to month. You're never locked in. That protects my integrity, your integrities, so when we're telling family and friends to join up, sign up, get on a monthly subscription, and we're telling them get on a 2-sleep monthly subscription. That's how this business is built. But more importantly, that's how you're going to get access for you and your significant other or your spouse to be able to access really the power in this patch and use you when 2 of you are on it. One's going to have a testimony faster, like I had my brain balance quickly, and then my wife's hot flashes. And guess what? Our marriage was better because I was less stressed. She was feeling better. So there's just a lot of really great things when 2 of you are on this. Now, that's not going to start, by the way, until next month. Alrighty. So what you do in the meantime is you buy a 3, 6, or 20 pack to get started on wearing and sharing these patches. Now, the retail rate on this right here is, and what's inside of here is, let me get another one of these, is 30 patches, which is a 1-month supply for one person. And it says right here 30, there's 30 patches, and the expiration date is like January 2027, like over a year and a half from now. So if you lose them, find them a year from now, they're still good, type of thing. But inside you'll find 30 of these patches, and so there's a 1 month supply. Well, the retail rate on this is usually $149, but the wholesale rate given here is about $99 or less. And so, and you don't have to sell anything. You can simply just come in and get at the wholesale rate, get a 3-pack on the left here for $295, right? That gets it down about $99 or not even each. And that gives you one for you, one for your loved one, and one extra potentially to share. And now you've got your 2 sleeve that's going to kick in next month. And remember, everything's month to month. Or if you want to hit the go button on this rewarding program, you buy a 6 or 20 pack, this advanced or premium pack that you're looking at here. And so that opens up the comp plan. The first one, you're limited to $100 a week on the residual, should you start sharing it. And but the advanced or the premium, the 6 or 20 pack, gets the price down to $89 a sleeve on the 6-pack and down to about $87.50, the cheapest on the 20 pack. My wife and I, we did the 20 pack. Why did I do the 20 pack? First of all, you can never buy these kits again. These are not recurring. They're one and done. You can only buy them one time, and that's it. Thereafter, it's a 2-sleeve monthly maintenance if you're going to build a business. And you can go on a 1 sleeve if you want to hold the business that's being built underneath you, and that your upline can explain that later to you. And but for $199 a month, my wife and I make 7 figures, which is crazy. And I speak from a businessman's perspective. You could not, if you're a realtor, you know how much money you got to spend on your license and training and everything, more than $535 and $199 a month. Way more, and you could not own a business that has the upside to significantly pay you just amazing blessings for anything like this. This is probably the most genius business model on the planet. My degree's in finance. I'm still fascinated by this business model that I don't have to have employees or overhead and franchise fees and all this other stuff. I just have to buy 1 supply for me and 1 supply for my wife each month and come in and buy one of these kits to get started. And I thought this is just mind-blowing that it's like it should be more money because so people would appreciate it. And so for as little as $535, you get 6 of these, and one for you, one for, with the loved one. That gives you 4 extra to begin to share. And what you're going to do is you're not going to, and the same thing on the 20-pack, you're going to have additional more to share. And you're not going to share the whole thing with somebody. What you're going to do is when someone gets excited and they want to sign up, like we did at church the other night, we signed somebody up. I fronted them one of these for them and their family to start wearing now. And so when they get theirs in the mailbox, several days later, they can then, when I see them again, they'll replace a new one back to me that I fronted them. But in the meantime, that night they got to start wearing patches and get the miracle going on them. And many times we find that when we do this place and replace program, that people we're helping get started on these patches right away are end up having results in a matter of a few days before they even got their patch in the mailbox. And they're calling their friends and family saying, you got to get on this patch. So it collapses time. And if you're going to have an opportunity to be rewarded in this company financially, then I like to scatter bountifully. And that's why we did the 20-pack. And so, because I want to have more to do a place and replace and get things started. And I think within less than 2 weeks, we were in the black. So we spent the $17.50 plus shipping and tax, and we had shared enough, and then enough people had purchased where we already were making money back. And by the way, you do get a one-time bonus each time someone buys one of these packs here. Either $35, $75, or $405, depending if they buy the 3, 6, or 20-pack. It's a nice way to offset your money. But the real power is in the excitement and the miracles that come out. And then how more parties like this, if you will, get birthed, more people get excited to share, and then how the revenue begins to build from there. So that, in short, is the presentation for tonight. I can stick around and answer some questions also. And I do want to let you know that once again, as I open up initially, listen, you may find yourself being a 3, 2, or 1. If you're a 3, you need to do more research. Totally get that. I have a lot of people who come in weeks later after they said, okay, Ken, it sounded too good to be true, but you know what? I need this pass for me and my family. Let's get going. We get it. Or you're 2, you're ready to get some pass for you and your family. Or maybe you're 1, you want to hit the go button on this rewarding program. And we want to do a launch event like this for you. You may be thinking about people you love and care about right now who need an introduction to this opportunity. Well, myself, Chuck, Providence, we can do a presentation like this for you and your family and friends. and it doesn't take long. And we can show you how to do a quick contact and invite to make it easy, so that they maybe want to take a look and with you to see if they see what you see. So, but it's been an honor so far to share with you, and I am going to stop the screen sharing and then make myself available to answer any questions, and then kind of sew back Providence, Becky, and Chuck, because Chuck also has something, Williams has something to share that would make it resourceful for you to want to know about in relation to what's coming up here soon and who maybe sign up, because you would get the benefit from all these people potentially are going to be coming in here shortly. And I'll let Chuck kind of talk about that here, and so he can make sense of what I just said there.